well. And before we get started, I want to thank the guys from Preferred Flooring. They're live streaming this event online, so thank you very much for that added attention. So I'm Jim Aaron, the Executive Director of the Floor Covering Education Foundation, and I want to take just a moment for each one of these folks to introduce who they are, who they work with, and what they do. We'll start with you, Don.
I'm Don Roberts. I own 5 flooring stores in Alabama. I've been a retailer for almost 50 years.
I'm Pete Dosha. I used to own US Floors. I'm now an entrepreneur and a guide to my boys at an international flooring company.
Herb Upton. I'm Senior Vice President within our residential group, and glad to be here with this distinguished group.
Will Young. We're back. Will Young with Engineered Floors. I'm our Vice President of Strategic Accounts, but I only have no S here, so one account.
Working its way up.
Kelly Oberschlag, Vice President of Sales, Mohawk National Accounts. I'm Jenny Taylor from Taylor Carpet One in Fort Myers, Florida. We own 3 Carpet Ones and 3 Pro Sources, and really involved in CCA in Carpet One.
Very good. Thank you so much. So listen, guys, we've only got 30 minutes to cover a very important topic. As we talked earlier, Daniel, we're probably just going to have to continue this conversation after this event. We're more than happy to do that, and we need to do that. Against my better judgment, I want to start with Don Roberts, because I know we've only got 30 minutes. But Don was with the foundation from the very beginning. So Don, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the group what the Floor Covering Education Foundation is all about and why it was formed.
So actually, where's Deb DeGraff? Somewhere in the audience here. Deb and I were part of the executive committee with the World Floor Covering Association. And a lot of you guys know WFCA does a great job for a lot of things for a lot of people. And we've had this installation crisis for a lot more years than we're willing to admit. It's probably been close to 20 at least. And you know, we started looking at, you know, here we've got to do something different. We've got to break outside of the box. And we decided to talk Scott and the rest of the team into, you know, putting up $1 million and going on to the larger manufacturers to begin with, Mohawk, Shaw, Engineered Floors, and try to get them on board to help us, you know, solve this critical price process. One of the biggest issues we've had is all these other trades, they take care of their own, right? I mean, I don't care if you're a welder, an electrician, a carpenter, a plumber. You can get paid to go to school. You can get your schooling paid for. You get all this stuff done. And we're competing for those same people out in the marketplace. And we just felt that we needed to start that process to get us into that same arena with these people. And, you know, that's pretty much what we did. One of the reasons that the rest of these folks are up here is they all have committed. They're all a part in one way or another, whether they're donating, putting their time and effort into this process. They're all doing it. One of the biggest problems we have right now is getting everybody else in the industry doing it, right? It's an industry problem. We say it's going to take a village. It's going to take the industry to fix it. And I can't tell you enough, if every flooring dealer, every carpet manufacturer, every LVT manufacturer did something towards this, we can solve it sooner than later. We're losing, what, 4,000 to 6,000 installers a year out of this industry. And guys, we're all at the mercy of what we can sell based on what can get professionally installed. Not cash and carry, not do it yourself. It's that world. So these guys are all here. They need your help, as I do, and the rest of them.
Thank you, Don. And while we're on the topic of flooring retailers, I want to jump all the way to the other end and turn it over to Jenny Taylor. Jenny Taylor is on our board of directors. She and her husband, John, own Taylor Carpet One in Florida. I've known this family for a long time. Wonderful people. Thank you for your involvement on our board. Jenny, what would you like to tell the folks about the foundation and what we're currently doing and the dire need for support we currently have?
I think the biggest thing that we're doing is actually getting influence out in the community and in the world of really and truly what is needed in installation. And we don't need installers, we need craftsmen. We need people that are proud of what they're doing. I mean, we're all here proud of being from Mohawk, the things that we're doing, all of that. But we need our installers to be proud of what they do in each and every day for us. And it's just like Don said, we can produce all the products, we can sell all the products, but if we cannot install it professionally and have them take pride in it, then we're not going to be as good as we could be as an industry. And we need to have pride for our installers because they're craftsmen, and really getting influence, getting money for young people. I mean, we need young people to understand it is a great profession to be in, and you should be proud of being an installer, being in the flooring industry. I think we kind of look down on that. It is a great industry, and I think we're actually getting out to the community colleges, the technical colleges, the high school, to let them know this is where you need to be to have a great future, not only for yourself, but your families.
Thank you. Thanks, Jenny. Well, she mentioned the technical colleges. I want to mention that for just a moment for those of you who might not be aware of what we're doing at the foundation. If I can just briefly just tell you what our tenets are, what our, I guess, our basic mission statement is at the Floor Covering Education Foundation. Number one is to increase awareness of the career pathways of flooring installation. You might think, why do we need to increase awareness? Trust me, I've talked to plenty of school-age kids who are considering construction-related careers, and this is not even on their radar. Not even on their radar. I've actually spoken to kids who are studying for construction-related careers, asked them how many are going into flooring installation. I never had a hand raised in this question, ever. I ask them why. Do you know what they tell me? Nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about it. We've got to change that. There is a lot that's got to change, and I believe the Floor Covering Education Foundation can be the impetus to do that. Number one, again, increase the awareness of the career pathway. Number two, to recruit new people into the career path of flooring installers. Guys, let's think about it. You've walked this floor already. Tons and tons of floors, great looking product, but guess what they all have in common? They have zero value until what? Until it's installed. It's one of the most critical components of what we do, but yet it's an afterthought for the majority of these suppliers. We could use your help as retailers and influencers in the industry to influence the rest of these to support what we're doing. Beyond the recruitment, we want to connect individuals to training. Of course, we work with industry-recognized training organizations like CFI, NWFA, CTEF. We provide scholarships for that training. That's where a lot of the money goes. And of course, we assist with job placement if those individuals need that as well. We've done a lot of work in a short period of time, and we have a lot of successes. We just really need the entire industry to rally around what we're doing. Pete.
Yeah, Jim, thank you very much, and Don and Jennifer, thank you. The key element here as well is that the Floor Covering Education Foundation has been the most professional organization to tackle this problem for all of us. And if this thing fails, nobody else will pick up the gauntlet again and try it again. So we cannot see this fail. And it can only be successful if all of us together tackle this, because it's our issue and it's our problem and it's at the same time our solution. So again, we can only do so much here on a voluntary basis and focusing on what we're trying to achieve. The FCEF has done a fantastic job. They've basically wrote the curriculum. They've made sure that there is a program in place that can be cookie cut all over the country in all the technical colleges, but it takes money. It takes money to make it happen. And it's not fair for only the big corporations and the big manufacturers to fund it all. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody has to fund it, and everybody has to commit. Because if this one fails this time, nobody else will start again.
Love the passion.
Well said. That
Well
was the
said.
Subaru scare you approach. I like it, Pete.
So Will, what would you like to add to what Pete had to say?
We'll try to do this.
Try to follow that up.
So that's well, my short career started in 2012. So I've never seen a healthy flooring industry, literally up until the post-COVID boom, I guess, that short-lived boom we had. What I noticed very quickly, though, was when we saw any health to our industry, we actually weren't, as an industry, able to capitalize on the health of the marketplace itself. Yeah, we had issues at home in terms of manufacturing and getting the labor to do that, but we had the same problems in installation. And I think, if you look down the road, I hear this from a wiser man than I a lot. There are so many macroeconomic factors that say that the flooring industry is going to be in very good shape, in a very good place in terms of needing what we're supplying over the next 5, 10, 15 years. Even just the population growth is going to take care of that. We're either going to put homes over their heads or they're going to have a revolution, and nobody will care about flooring at that point. It won't be a big deal. But that being the case, what we found very quickly is we could not, in a healthy market, actually scale up what we need to do. And we've been in a recession, basically, since 2007. If we're going to move anywhere and see that kind of growth as a manufacturer and as retailers, I think you have to solve this problem, or someone's going to solve it for us, right? I think that's been the other piece is, one thing that separates us from other pieces of goods, like rugs that anybody can buy online, and they're often going overseas, partially because 20% of the cost is more is labor. But the other thing is it doesn't have to be installed. So we have a moat built around us in our industry that makes us manufacturers important, makes our retailers important. It's one of the biggest things that separates you from the other guys. We won't mention who they are, but you know who I'm talking about. We hear people talk about it a lot, but we're not seeing anybody do anything about it. I think that's the issue. And so it's very simple. You're talking about a couple $100s a month to make sure that you, your kids, your grandkids maybe have something to live on. That's all.
Absolutely. And we, all of us collectively, have committed millions of dollars to this program. So manufacturers have definitely gone all in to try to help with the issue. Another thing we've done, we've committed and partnered with many local retailers supplying material for individual installation seminars that they've held. But we can only do so much. So we need everybody's participation to make sure that it is successful.
Plenty of material going around for y'all to pick up. Lots of drops.
Herb, what would you like to add to what's already been said?
We work in a great industry, and I know I've just celebrated my 30th year, and the two things I love about the flooring industry is the people that you work with, the customer base, people that you've been able to work with and be a mentor for, people that you compete with, but it's friendly competition. We are a family together. The second thing that I love is that we're resilient. Whether you talk about the housing bust, the Great Recession, COVID, oceanic freight, labor shortages across the supply chains globally, geopolitical, tariffs, we've always risen to the occasion as an industry. But this single threat around installation and having skilled labor in order to install our beautiful products is at risk. It will not be solved overnight. But this is the one that we all have to rally together. There are no special interests with any of us as a family within the industry, whether you're a customer, your competitor, manufacturer, distributor, we all have this problem. We have to come together and we have to solve it. It is the biggest risk that our industry faces, and it will not happen overnight, the solution, but it is starting to hurt our businesses now. So yes, this is a little peer pressure. Our industry as a whole is a large industry. We all need to make sure that we have the second and third generations prepared. And with that, installation has to be a part of this. And go to the website, see the statistics that we have on it. It's just amazing. It will wake you up. It's the thing that keeps me up at night. So just glad to be able to support it. And we look forward to everybody in this room support it in whatever way you can. With financial donations. No donations too small, but we have to invest.
Thank you, Herb. So I do want to call out and recognize specifically the leadership at WFCA. It was WFCA and the board of directors at WFCA that initially said, let's put our money where our mouth is and let's start this foundation. They were the first to put up the $1 million seed money. After that, of course, Mohawk and Shaw committed as well, and so has Engineered Floors. Our largest manufacturers are our biggest supporters. But look again how large this floor is. And think about how many suppliers are here and how many retailers are here that are not yet supporting this foundation that is doing the work to support our entire industry. Don just whispered in my ear to remind me about another supplier that we just had come on board. And I'm going to go ahead and let you guys in on this. An announcement will be going out soon. Tuesday of next week, Cali, which some of you may know as Cali Bamboo, Callie will be sending out an email to every single one of their customers stating the following. We support the FCEF and the work they are doing. We believe that basically an additional small overbill on product will help fund this program long term. They're going to be asking every single one of their customers to opt in for a 1 penny per foot overbill on all of their products. Yeah. So I know we've got a lot of retailers in here. Let me just ask real quick. As a retailer, how many of you would oppose to paying 1 penny more per square foot on a product if you knew it went to solve the installation crisis?
Dangerous question, Jim.
Well, listen, I would tell you, I've never, when one-on-one conversations, I've never had anybody say no. And Don Roberts told me in 2021, you had what, 47 price increases? They could have added a penny in there and nobody would have said anything. So at the end of the day, Don, what would you like to tell the retailers going? I like to look at, okay, we have this talk, we have this seminar, we have this discussion, but there needs to be a to-do. What is the to-do as we leave this and go forward?
So I'll tell you, I mean, these folks have stepped up. They've put their money where their mouth is. You know, they have come back to us and said, hey, Don, I thought this was an industry problem and we were going to solve it by the whole industry participating. You know, the dealers are not stepping up and they're not taking this as seriously as we are. And they're the ones that have to deal with these installers on a daily basis. You know, we just met with a group of people the last couple of days, and I think we had 2/3 of that room raise their hand and said they're going to be in. And I'm going to go back and watch, you know, the registrations come in on the ongoing monthly donation. But, you know, whether it's $100 a month or $50 a month or $200 a month, you know, I give $500 a month and have since day one. You know, I believe in this thing. You know, if my business has to rely on that $500, I'm in the wrong business. But we have to do something. We have to step up. By the way, $100 a month, you know what that gets you for one store location? Half of one scholarship. Half of one scholarship. To actually solve this problem on the 5,000 to 6,000 installers we lose a year, we need $12 to $15 million a year in scholarships to replace those people. Guys, we're not getting it. We've got to get it. And these guys have done their part. And they're going to, by the way, they're going to continue doing their part, but we need everybody else. $100 a month per location, not a lot of money. FCEF.org/donate. If you look at that page up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a lot of POP. That is where you click on to make your recurring donation, and you get all that POP that you can use in your marketplace to go to tech schools, to go to high schools, to go to talk about it. By the way, get your competitors together. You guys are in this together. Go talk to these schools together as an industry, not as an individual business. They don't want to see battling in an industry. They want to see an industry that welcomes them into it, right? Those are the things that you guys can do, but don't do nothing. Do something.
Well, I mean, looking at the convention hall here as well, I would say we not just take dollars, we take renminbi as well. Okay, so be kind of flexible. If our Chinese partners want to participate, we take Chinese renminbi as well as support of the FCEF. We don't take Bitcoin, no Bitcoin yet, and not in the States.
No, we'll figure out a way.
We're flexible. No, again, I mean, obviously we can keep on going over the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, it's amazing how, you know, this professional being a floor covering professional installer pays a heck of a salary. I mean, if you do it well, you can make $100,000+ dollars. I mean, and we are not screaming this loud enough to have every young man in this and young lady in this country that this is an opportunity for them to have a serious job, just like being a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician. And it's up to us to kind of elevate it to that position whereby they are proud to become flooring installers. But it pays well, and it's at the end of the day a solution for our industry, because without it, like we all have said, we can only raise to a certain bar, and we need them. And thanks again to the Floor Covering Education Foundation to making this happen. And I go back to what I said, this is the last chance for us to make it happen. If this fails, that's it.
Let's keep going down the line. Herb, what would you like to add?
You know, I would encourage everybody go to the website, the donate sign that's up in the upper left-hand corner, but also before you donate, watch some of the testimonials and videos of how this scholarship program has affected people's lives. It's emotional. It's personal. That's why I take it personal. We should all take it personal. This has to improve, and we're not going to be able to solve it singular. We're going to have to do it all together. So make it personal. Do it for the future, and that's my message.
Yeah,
Well,
it's kind of made me just got really tired of hearing about the glory days in the flooring industry because I started in 2012. I'd like to return to those glory days eventually and not have this affect that. So, I mean, it's to me, I think I'm always asked, it's a meaningful gift. Whatever meaningful means to you, not everybody can give it the same amount, but you got to give something. I had a Lorax quote. I'm not going to read it right now, but it was.
I think it was great.
We got
Come
it. You're
on.
right. This is my
Come on,
Dr.
read it.
Seuss quote. I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so we do a lot of this. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Seriously, donate. Thank you.
One more time, because the press is here and I know they want to use that quote. One more time, Will.
Cite Dr. Seuss, please. We don't need Will in
I
any
was
type
going to
of
try to
license.
memorize it, but unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to get better. It's not.
Very
That dude was pretty wise.
Yes, he was.
Kelly.
I think everything's been mentioned and the point's been driven home, but I would encourage you as you're visiting these other booths here to ask them, hey, are you donating to FCEF? Ask them. They're asking you for a sale. Ask them if they're helping with our industry to help all of us sustain a successful industry. Oh, sorry.
I agree with everything. I think the biggest thing is independent retailers. We really need to challenge ourselves, our people that we know within the industry. You need to go out and challenge them, because at the end of the day, we're part of CCA. I challenge them every single day to donate. And even your competitors, knock on the door and say, hey, what are we going to do in our area to make a difference in the industry? Because it affects all of us. Because we can only install for what we have right now, because it's not going to grow if we don't continue to support the Floor Covering Education Foundation. And the testimonials that are there are amazing. These young adults, men and women, want to make a career. And when they leave a job, they're proud of that job. You can have an architect design and have a designer design it, and we can sell it and all of that. But if it doesn't finish up beautifully, we don't have anything. And they take pride in that, just like we take pride every day. We need to give that back to the people, the young people that are coming up in the industry. And this is a great organization that's making it happen and has had so much happen in such a short time too. So.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Listen, we're very proud. I'm very proud. I've got a very small team at the Floor Covering Education Foundation, but I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in a very short period of time. We mentioned the program that we facilitated the development of that's been implemented into technical and community colleges, and that's making a difference. What's interesting is every time we talk to a technical and community college president or person heading the department we want to talk to, we learn about how other industries are supporting this type of effort. And it's really interesting. All these other industries that Don mentioned that we're competing against, they've been doing this a long time, supporting the recruitment and training. This is new to us. I get it, but we've got to get over. We've got to get over that. We've got to change. One thing I want to say, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Don, for some closing remarks. Kelly said, when you're out here talking to your suppliers, please talk to them about it. You're their customer. Here's what's interesting. I want to tell you this one quick story. I was at a convention last March, a smaller buying group. I was talking to one of the suppliers. I actually had a supplier tell me this question after I asked them to donate to the foundation. He said, Jim, this is not our problem. I couldn't believe he said that. I said, I was in sales for a number of years. Whatever was my customer's problem was my problem. And I said, don't you realize that if they can't install it, they can't buy it from you? Guys, unfortunately, that's the mentality of a lot of suppliers, but they will listen to you. Don?
So I'm going to give you a little advice. Go out behind your store where you guys load out your installers every day. If you got bushes, look in those bushes, because if you start seeing heads in those bushes, that's your competition that's going to follow your installers out on the job site that day and hand out their cards. That's what's going to happen to us if we don't fix this, right? The only way we're going to get installers is go steal it from the competition. So while we're chasing theirs, they're chasing ours, and nobody wins. You know, we need more people in the industry doing this job. It's a fine job. It's a great career. And pay your installers well. You know, you pay peanuts, get monkeys, right? It isn't right. We need to raise that bar, you know, too. We can take 5 pay increases a year from a vendor, right? And we can't give the installer a nickel, right?
The cost went up, Don.
He says that with a panel of suppliers here. Hey, listen, guys. Myself and Megan Faulkner, Megan, raise your hand. She and I are here representing the Floor Covering Education Foundation. We have a spot on the corner of the World Floor Covering Association booth. But whether you see me or Megan, anybody in the WFCA booth, including Scott, raise your hand. They're very passionate about what we're doing. They'd love to talk to you about it as well. Last thing I'll say, because we're about out of time, please go to FCEF.org and look at the donation. But also, there's another website we built that I'm very, very proud of. It's a website you want to turn on a young person to. It's called flooryourfuture.com. Very proud of that website. It talks about the benefits, the lifestyle, the money you can make as a floor covering installer. We actually have real installers advocating for the career path on that website, including Daniel. Daniel, raise your hand. He's on a number of our videos. Any last words? Any final words?
I
Kelly?
was just going to say really quickly, too, that your money is in great hands. Jim Aaron does a fantastic job leading this. He's so passionate about it, and he really has done a great job driving this. So great job, Jim.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, excellent. So when our foundation was initially formed, the charter basically said our scholarships were going to be 50% of tuition up to $2,500, okay? And that's the way we've been running for quite a while. Starting in the middle of November, I believe it was, I'll give Scott the credit for this. So Scott's idea was, how about 100% of tuition up to $2,500? How about if we do 100% of tuition? So now, through March the 9th, we're offering 100% of tuition for the first 100 people that apply. It's basically 100 and 100 for 100. That is still going on. We've still got some of those 100 left, but it expires on March the 9th. So let's do that recruiting and let's get those people scholarship. Okay? Listen, if you got any questions, we'll be hanging around for a little while. Love to talk to you more about this. We're all very passionate about it. Thank you for your time and your attention.